And we are back! Hope you enjoyed them clips of times gone by, specifically the Shelby one, especially that first one at the store. I love it. Did not think that clip of Shelby getting those banelings in his face could be any funnier. So Vortex added his touch to it. But regardless, yeah.
It's one of those things where that Shelby clip we watched like 2 years ago or something like that. Like it just came all the way back around.
Yep. But speaking of Shelby, we are in a PVZ finals here, that Hong Kong Derby once again, and we're kicking things off on Jagannatha KBBLE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, fighting all the way to the top right-hand corner. We have our red Zerg player coming down for the land of Hong Kong. He is currently the best player from Hong Kong and absolutely dominant in these past couple of weeks of Grand Platypus Open. He is GogojOey.
And in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha ALE, we just saw him take down Runamuck, and now he's here in the grand finals. The Kong from Hong Kong, representing himself, it is Bistork.
Doing Bistork things for the time being. That probe was here before, right?
No, it wasn't.
It's not a GogojOey.
GogojOey went for that base regardless of what was happening. That was crazy.
So, do you think he's trying to bait Bistork into going for a very defensive play, or do you think he just was anticipating Bistork to go for the pro block and decided to just grab his third?
It's a mind game. Right now, Bistork is checking just in case, assuming it is a pool first opening, but now he knows 100%, and Bistork did not overreact. It's like, okay, you know, it is the way hatch first. You know, he just decided to try and juke me a little bit.
Yeah, throws him off Psyche for a second or two, but now there's no real reason to worry for Bistork.
Mm-hmm.
He can get into his game.
Yeah, exactly. As GogojOey does have enough for another base, but that probe is still here, being very annoying for Bistork.
Yeah, just preventing a little bit of mining here and there.
yeah, just a bit. And we'll see how this turns out, because again, this is something that honestly we haven't been able to cast in a while, that Hong Kong Derby, and things can get really weird because these are the two best players from Hong Kong. They play each other a lot in competitive play, and because of that, they are also, you know, really well used to each other. They're very familiar with each other's play.
Yeah, I think overall most people would rate GogojOey higher than Bistork, but again, because of just how familiar they are with each other, just because they know how one another likes to play, there's a lot that Bistork can pull off here and get that upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen it before, is the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're well aware of how Bistork can just go crazy and lose his mind. He is opening up with the Stargate, which is pretty standard so far, nothing crazy going on. And likewise, GogojOey, he finally gets his third base up and running, maybe a little bit later than he would have liked, but you know, eventually he did get it, and we've just been joining up ever since.
Yeah, that greedy openings that GogojOey typically likes to do, especially in ZvP. Does not want to start his aggression before he's nice and saturated on 3 bases. But once he does get that saturation, you better watch out, because he ain't stopping.
Exactly. Like, we're on Jagannatha of all maps. Typically, we see this map vetoed in this matchup, I feel. Very interesting that it did make it through the veto process. And something that I'm a little bit worried about for Bistork is GogojOey going for those Roach Queen pushes. We saw him do it almost every single game against Starduck. I think, actually, every single game against Starduck. And Starduck, like, struggled so much to stop him.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what game 2 was. But yeah, I think it was about the same, and it just not working out as well for GogojOey.
Game 2 was, he did it on Beckett, and Starduck held.
Yeah, that was it. Game 3, he went for the Spire, so it was viewed as in addition to that Roach Queen push.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Bistork, interesting. So he did open up with a Void Ray follow-up Oracle, just like Starduck, except this time he switched straight into a Robotics Facility.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping he does go for that robotics bay, at least a little quick. I think we've seen in that game against Debbie he had just how crucial it is to have disruptors on the defense.
Yeah, it's a very different style from Bistork. Meanwhile, ooh, going for the stasis is gonna finish.
Is he gonna have it? He does have enough! Alright, GogojOey either not aware of that Oracle here or really overestimating the amount of DPS that single queen has.
Yeah, unfortunately he wasn't paying attention. He was busy elsewhere dealing with the Void Ray instead, so nice value already gotten by Bistork. Meanwhile, he's getting his third up and running with that Robo. Behind that, he's going for that Forge. Interesting that he still hasn't thrown down a Twilight Council.
Well...
Oh my god.
I don't really need it when you're going pure sky ground. Who needs gateway units, am I right? Just like your purification nova speed a buffer.
So I'm trying to
thermal and speed a buffer.
I'm trying to figure this out because there's no robotics base, so there's no disruptors, there's no Colossus. There we go.
That's a lot.
Exactly. 2 more Stargates get thrown down. I'm really curious about something. And my biggest curiosity is that will he make more Void Rays? Because he hasn't so far from this Stargate. So that tells me, mate, he wants to go straight into carriers.
I'm definitely inclined to agree, but I have quite a couple of concerns here. It is Jagannath. It's a lot more difficult to defend on 4 bases, but here come the carriers. This is a gambit. Bistork is hoping that GogojOey isn't going to aggressively push across the map until he has enough carriers out. And to be fair, we are on Jagannatha. It does take a while for queens to waddle across.
Oh my god. And meanwhile, there are plenty of queens, but so far these are for defense. Eventually, they will want to waddle across the map, as you said. But this Oracle does make it in. We do see a tag on the queens, and will he see the Spire? No, he will not.
Barely doesn't see it.
And with that, the mutas are on the way, and we were talking about it in the series against Starduck. When you have enough mutas, doesn't matter about your Void Ray count, neither does your carrier count. Like, mutas can still just take them down, especially when you don't have Phoenixes, when you don't have anything on the ground to support your Sky Toss.
Yeah, and even if the amount of carriers out starts getting dicey for the mutas, they are so slow that they're just gonna jump between mineral lines. What is the static defense situation looking like right now for Bistork? Not too bad on the 3rd base, but and that natural and main.
Yeah.
One cannon ain't gonna cut it.
Exactly. Here we go. Mutas are on the way. Bistork, he is blindly setting up defensively for mutas, and it makes sense because, again, this is a very turtle style from the Protoss. This Sky Toss style, you slowly get your 4th base up, you slowly max out with your Sky Toss. So again, Bistork is focusing on his defense, and finally the mutas show themselves.
Yeah, really just thinking, what could possibly kill me right now? Well, mutas for 1. See how well GogojOey is able to control them. Not taking too many risks here. He is satisfied with taking out a handful of probes as long as he's able to keep the majority of his mutas alive, which he is.
Oh, exactly. And we do see that GogojOey, after seeing the carriers, he is not doubling down on mutas, which makes sense. He is switching straight into corruptors. Thankfully, he was already working on +1 flyer attacks, so again, his corruptors, once they do pop out, they're gonna hit hard.
Extremely hard. This is kind of the problem with Russian carriers like this. You don't have much of a buffer when it comes to your Void Rays. Doesn't take a lot for the Corruptors just one-shot the Void Rays, and then from there, doesn't take a lot for them to one-shot the carriers either.
Yeah, exactly. We have a massive commitment. Again, not just the Corruptors, but we were talking about them earlier. That Queen count is still incredibly high, and there's plenty of energy for transfuses.
That there is still in a very good position defensively, but now GogojOey starting to pull the trigger. Has to be so careful about that prismatic alignment.
Ooh.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
recalls.
He is forced to recall, and I don't blame him, and it looks like with that recall he could lose this carrier if GogojOey finds it. Meanwhile, that Queen March, it has started.
Queens of the Carriers went on 2, or the Queens of the Corruptors went on 2 different ends. Carrier survived by going straight down the middle.
Just barely. Meanwhile, we do have the Void Rays being focused down. Ooh, a bit of an aim if here. No focus fire with the Corruptors.
Yeah, now they're starting to take out the Void Rays. A much better focus firing this time coming out from GogojOey. Again, plenty of energy on these queens. What transfuse? Not anymore. As Bistork gets some of the moneyest purification novas of his life. Is it going to be enough? Maybe barely with the stalkers out. It is going to be enough.
Mate, those purification novas were huge. The goal of the queens are just to chip away at those interceptors and focus them down and give yourself some room to focus fire those carriers. And sure, the void rays went down, but I don't think, as I quickly double check, only 2 carriers fell. There's still 5.
I feel like GogojOey may have delayed himself a little bit when it came to target firing some of these key units, and it is costing him dearly. Sure, the Corruptus may be able to deal with the carriers now, but what is his solution to all these stalkers? He doesn't have a ground army.
No, he does not. He neglected his Roach Warren. Lings are on the way. Nice focus fire. He does get one of the carriers. He's going to get the second. He could actually clean up all these carriers, and the Lings should be able to clean up the ground army.
Very expensive loss here for Bistork, but look at all these charge lists coming in to reinforce. The Lings are only coming in now, and these Corruptors realize we have no more purpose here in this fight. Let's catch reinforcements.
Exactly. They do catch a couple of reinforcements. Meanwhile, here come the Lings. Finally, they do pop out. Everything here on the ground will get surrounded. Oh my god, he realizes he's trying to take down the base.
Quickly as possible, but there's just not enough DPS here, even with the Purification Novas, to deal with that hatchery. Forces a recall, and GogojOey completely smashes this offensive.
That he does. Meanwhile, Bistork, he's trying to expand and take a 4th base. Well, it's forced to be cancelled. He's fighting toe-to-toe against these Corruptors, but does lose one of the Void Rays. And GogojOey, he was able to defend, and I don't believe he lost any of his workers.
I don't think he has either, nor that hatchery. And now GogojOey's more than fine with sacrificing his Corruptors for taking out these Void Rays. That was a very juicy Purification Nova, but there's plenty more roaches where that came from.
Exactly, and I love how GogojOey, he's not committing too much to these attacks. As soon as one of the Purification Novas comes out, he does back off immediately, and now he's going to be able to hit this 4th base once again. The Void Rays have reset their prismatic alignment, so they are able to push this away. Oh my god.
What just happened there? Look at the Purification Nova just tried to go up the ramp and then rolled down the hill onto the Zealots.
Yeah, it looked like he selected it alongside the Zealots. Meanwhile, ooh, the Archons get picked off. Here come the reinforcements, the Lings and the Roaches, and I don't think there's enough on the ground.
Yeah, it was looking pretty good for a second here for Bistork, but then the Ling reinforcements came in, the flank of the Roaches came in, and everything underground got taken out for Bistork, save couple of chargelets and 1 disruptor. GogojOey has retaken control of this game.
GogojOey needs to stop training. He's up to 91 workers. It's like, mate, I get it. You know, you want money. So who doesn't? But calm down, you know?
Just trying to do tempo proud.
Meanwhile, here comes the rest of the army. Nice disruptor shots, beautiful Purification Novas, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Zealots come in clutch, and he does push GogojOey away, but I feel like GogojOey just needs to calm down a little bit, reinforce his army. You know, he's maxed out, and then just come in with everything. It feels like he's trickling in bit by bit.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. Tried to fight that single Void Ray with prismatic alignment as it was being battery overcharged. Didn't quite have the DPS on his Corruptus yet. If he pulled back and got his reinforcements, he would have absolutely smashed that 5th base again.
Yeah, and it still feels like GogojOey is being a little bit stubborn here as he catches the disruptor. Like there we go. 5 is finally on the way. I don't believe he has any Vipers available either, so his army isn't ideal. You know, it's not the most it's not the most efficient army. Yeah. There's a lot to be desired.
Yeah, because GogojOey can win with this composition, but it involves him throwing supply at Bistork until he cracks. Supply that he can't quite afford to lose yet. He's starting to build up a bank. That's where the 90 workers come in.
Exactly, but like he still has to respect Bistork's army, and if he loses too much of his supply at once, Bistork can just keep pushing and take out a base. But here we go. Finally, GogojOey engages with the army.
And he does get some really good surrounds with his Lings. The Void Rays are finally starting to fall from the sky. And I'm not sure Bistork can muster up enough of a reinforcing defensive force.
Yeah, that was a massive loss from Bistork. He has one disruptor left at home. He has a couple of Void Rays coming out as well. To be fair, GogojOey doesn't have too much left remaining after that fight, so I mean, Bistork he holds.
Yeah, can't quite crack those shield batteries and cannons. Not with the amount of supply he's got on the ground.
Joey, please, just like get a Viper. Just get some Vipers out.
One
Viper.
Viper.
So you can yoink these boys, mate. Like, that's all you need.
No. The only flyers I can get is Corruptors.
Get a Greater Spire. Get a... he has a Hive.
It's like, Vipers don't do damage. I need damage.
Oh god, here we go. Lings are rushing on in, and I love this move here from GogojOey because Bistork is spread too thin. He doesn't have enough army to defend multiple places at once.
Yeah, kind of a bit of an issue with Jagannatha. He does deal with the Corruptors towards the left side, and now he recalls towards the right base. It doesn't lose too many workers here, but the Corruptors are back. The Nexus is low. The Nexus is low. He doesn't have an overcharge, I don't think. He used it up earlier on. Okay, he does have an overcharge. Whew.
Oof, just barely. Bistork keeps his fourth base alive, but for how much longer? I feel like I've been saying this for the past couple of minutes here, but Bistork, his supply is slowly getting higher. Like, he's slowly holding on. He's expanding. He's taking another base. Now he's on 5 base economy. Like, he's still not in an ideal position, but like, every single time he pushes away the army of GogojOey, like, his army gets a little bit stronger and stronger.
It honestly does. Oh! The perfect Purification Nova. I am not quite convinced of GogojOey's choice of tech either. He's going for an Ultra Cavern, which I get the idea. You know, you want to run below the Sky Toss in the sky, but there's still a lot of Void Rays with Prismatic Alignment here.
Yeah, it just feels like GogojOey was a little bit stubborn, right? He was kind of trying to force it. Finally, Vipers are coming out. It's something that we've wanted for so long, but they are on the way.
He's doing it!
He's doing, but is it too late?
I honestly think so.
We'll see. I mean, Bistork, he's lacking in High Templar for Storm, for feedback, so like, Bistork's own army isn't that great either. He's just relying on Void Rays, Stalkers, and Disruptors, so I do think that eventually, once these Vipers come out with good enough control, which GogojOey does have, he should be able to deal with this a little bit easier. Should.
What about when DTs get thrown into the mix? Alright, decent split there, right at the end. Bistork doesn't want to, or GogojOey rather, doesn't want to engage his army head first with the Ultralists. Not unless he's certain he can use them to make an opening for him.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm worried about because, like, Bistork just moved out. Like, he kept GogojOey at home, kept him busy. Now, here come... Oh my god, the Robos are coming out. He's getting ready to switch into Immortals to deal with these Ultras. It's a Mass Immortal. Oh my god.
Bistork has got to have the best flashbacks of his life right now to his series against Biomika some time back. What do I do when my Zerg opponent goes for Ultras and I already had a bunch of Robo facilities? Mass Immortal.
Mass Immortal, mate. That's all you need. Meanwhile, here come the Vipers, but immediately one of them gets picked off.
Ooh. Yeah, Vipers a little bit slower than Corruptors is something that Zerg players definitely have to keep in mind when going for retreats like this.
Mate, Bistork is closing the gap. He's...
He's already close to worker gap.
Yeah, now we have 3 Immortals being produced at a time. Ultras are not the answer right now, GogojOey. Hopefully he doesn't invest too much in them. He only has 3 for now, but again, like, this Mass Immortal switch is gonna do wonders against Queens, Ultras, and Roaches.
Part of me wonders if the only reason he has 3 Ultras is because of his supply. You know, he's starting to make a lot of headway. Very nice flank, but there's enough beef on the ground. A lot of these Immortals are getting caught out by the Zerglings, getting surrounded by them. As the Corruptors deal with everything in the sky, Bistork is fighting just outside the range of those shield batteries.
That he is, and the Ultras are pushing on forward. The majority of the Immortals got taken out earlier by those things. As you were saying, there's only one Immortal left. Bistork needed a little bit more time, and GogojOey didn't give it to him once again for like the 5th time this game. GogojOey does take a great win, but he can't end the game. He can't keep pushing.
Not yet, anyway, but he's about to soon. A very messy fight with losses on both sides. But in the end, GogojOey had enough to remax. He had enough resources and he had enough production remax. Bistork, he's struggling specifically when it comes to his production, although he's just spent his bank. So he's gonna struggle in both aspects pretty soon.
It's one of those things where Bistork, he just got the bottom right hand base. If this gets up and running, then he can get back into this. But again, like we've been saying, he just needs a little bit. He just needs a little bit more time, right, to get there. And GogojOey is maxed out now. GogojOey shouldn't be giving him that time.
He realized it though. He may now. He really needs to find himself an opening. He needs to realize how ahead he is in army supply. He's coming in with the Ultras, trying to find the right angle.
They are trying.
The right angle, I mean the correct angle, not the triangle thingy.
And Bistork, he doesn't really have much left. He's making a lot of Immortals, sure, but he doesn't have much of a buffer. He does have some side defense, I guess. Like Bistork, he wants to fight at home. He wants to fight at one of his bases.
Let Purification Nova be the buffer. But this is kind of worst case scenario for Bistork. Very far outside of the shield batteries on either base. He just lost his entire army. And with that, I think he lost map number 1.
He should. I think that is finally it here. GogojOey is finally able to break Bistork. Even though Bistork was able to survive so many waves, so many pushes, he just can't keep up with GogojOey.
GG is called. My PC lagged a little bit just because of the sheer amount of caustic sprays going on towards the end there. Now it's all said and done. GogojOey takes game number 1, but Bistork definitely made him fight for it.
Yeah. GG. I was getting really worried for GogojOey for a while there. It was like, mate, you've been ahead for so long. You've been like bashing your head against a brick wall, hoping that it would break, and it looked like at a certain point GogojOey was going to be the one that broke. But he didn't let it slip away.
And he calmed down.
He did, and he was able to take game number 1, and now we are heading into game 2.
That we are. I'm curious to see how, if anyway, Bistork is going to switch things up. He does have quite a number of builds, quite a number of different styles that he does like to alternate between in a PvZ. But it's now the time?
Yeah, we shall see. I mean, that was a pretty unique style in game number 1, right? Like going straight into carriers like that, very Paco Mike-esque.
And that was definitely a very map-dependent style too. Might be able to pull something off. Might be able to pull something similar-ish off on Oxide just because of how defensive it is, but to be determined. To be determined as we continue our series here on Oxide LE. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have the red Zerg player coming down from the land of Hong Kong. He is going to be representing himself as he is currently teamless, but also the entire nation of Hong Kong as he goes up against his countrymen. We have GogojOey.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Kong from Hong Kong himself. He was almost immortal last game. He just wouldn't die, but in the end, he just couldn't hold on any longer. It was quite close here. Can he bring it back in game number 2? It is the Pink Protoss. It is Bistork.
Okay. See a couple of people asking here in chat, how do we determine which caster is which? And I agree with Getya's solution. Like, you wear glasses, I wear sunglasses.
This is very accurate. This is true. That's how you tell us apart. Yes.
Otherwise, we are literally twins. The family resemblance is real. That's the lore.
That's not how it works, mate. God damn it. Oh god. Can't wait until offline tournaments again. Yeah, as Kuro was saying, I have been casting recently from the Sydney studio, ANZ Champs over the weekend. I know it's not the best time zone the best time depending on if you're from Europe or North America, but yeah, we have been casting live for the past couple of months.
Yeah. I tell you, it's the best time if you're from like Southeast Asia or India or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Because it starts about when they wake up,
mm-hmm.
and it keeps going.
We've also been having a lot of fun with it. It was really great to see ESL proper actually took inspiration from ESL Australia, and they started like adding like plushies and stuff to their set. It's something that we've been doing for a couple of months. For the last broadcast, I even wore Zergling slippers to the cast.
Yep.
Everyone was losing their mind.
This is the start of an arms race. I hope you realize what you're doing, Light.
Yeah. Like every single week, I bring something new to the set. Like I brought the Ling, the Baneling, the Probe, the Duck, and now the Zergling slippers. It's great.
Eventually, the ESL proper studio is gonna be like, we need to find something else. We need to like fill it up with statues of Marines or something.
They're like, all right, we need to cosplay someone as an Archon. We need to. It's gonna be great.
Fury Dragon and Cats, I imagine. Very tricky Adept coming in. Very good pickoffs for only a single Adept. More importantly, Bistork gets plenty of scouting information.
And he confirms that there's nothing crazy going on. There's no early lair, no early gases, or anything of that nature. And once again, he's opening up with that Stargate.
Yeah, Voider once again should be seeing an Oracle after this. I don't think he's gonna try that quadruple Stargate carrier on Oxide though.
Nah, that'd be crazy.
He might go double Stargate. He might go double Stargate carrier.
Yeah, I'd be more okay with that. As it looks like he wants to take a third base, but there are Lings here in position, so he is forced back. The Voider will have to clean all this up. And something that's a little bit surprising to me is that Bistork didn't opt to go for that Oracle.
Yet. No, he's getting a third base. Yeah, he's building that for quite a while, and now we know why. Twilight Council on the way. This is the Bistork I like to watch.
Oh yeah, let's go. So if this was a normal player, I would assume that this is going to be for Glaive Adepts, but it's Bistork. I still think it's going to be Glaive Adepts, but,
he has been slipping into the dark side a little bit tonight.
He has. Like along those lines, like maybe when that Templar Archives when that Twilight Council finishes, he could throw down a Dark Shrine and go into DTs, because why the hell not? Meanwhile, these things are actually dealing a lot of damage here. Picking off a couple of workers, wasn't able to deny the third.
Yeah, not with the Adept in that SimCity.
Ooh. And a Forge gets thrown down. This should not be for Glaives, and there it is!
You'll love to see it.
Mate, there we go. Dark Shrine is on the way for Bistork, so he's going to be going to go for DTs. Meanwhile, due to this Forge and due to this +1, there it is. I was going to say either Blink or Charge should be on the way, and there it is. Charge is on the way.
Really doubling down on melee in this game. So he's going to hit very hard once he finishes up his upgrades, but will he have enough time to do so? GogojOey, I think, has realized, hey, you don't really have a lot when it comes to map control. I'm just going to send my Roaches forward and see what they can get done.
Yeah, here we go. Roaches and Queens are on the way. No Ravagers. So again, this is a bit of a awkward timing, to be honest, but it is here. Meanwhile, we do have some defenses set up here. Like we have a couple of shield batteries, a couple of cannons as well. But Bistork honestly doesn't have too much in terms of army.
He really does not. If he can get the perfect force fields, then he'll be able to delay this army from killing him for so long. But till then,
I mean, this army doesn't have to go for the third. Like, he's pushing through the rocks. He could just go for the natural base, and there are no sentries here. Like, I'm really concerned. There are DTs being morphed in, which is great, I guess, but the lair is done. Like, GogojOey has access to detection.
But does he actually have that detection, though, is going to be the question. No overseers in this location. That Void Rose doing a very good job of preventing the overlords from getting on top of the map. Very awkward position for Bistork to fight here. Normally you want to attack a Zerg army from 2 angles like that, but not when your army consists of sentries and then the depths.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, as you were saying, there is no overseer with this main army, so actually a decent amount of queens are going to go down to these DTs. Meanwhile, the DT across the map didn't deal too much damage, but ooh, it looks like this Void Ray could force a cancel on this base. There's only 1 queen to defend. Regardless, Bistork, even with like the bare minimum army, was able to survive with his DTs.
That was absolutely important because we see how he's going to transition out from here. He went for the double Stargate, and I think he wanted to go for the carriers once again, but he did spot the Spire, and he's switching things up very much into Phoenixes.
Yeah, that he did. GogojOey was going for a Spire, and again, he's been going for a lot of mutas in his ZvP recently. Oh my god! Wait! Okay, here it is. It's here. It's finally here.
Yeah, unfortunately, couldn't keep that 4th base from getting up, and it couldn't keep that 4th base from going down, but GogojOey is taking it at a different location.
Yeah,
it's not the end of the world.
It's just so late. Like, the 4th base timing for GogojOey is at the same time as Bistork's 4th. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, very much the last thing you want to happen in a ZvP.
Definitely. So, GogojOey, he has to do something here. There we go. The Lings and the Ravagers respond to this 4th base, looking to cancel it. And meanwhile, Bistork still doesn't really have much of a standing army. He has a lot of Phoenixes to defend against the mutas, but guess what? There are no mutas.
There are no mutas, yeah. You gonna lift up every single Zergling? I don't think so. But taking out the Ravagers will deny Bistork a lot of utility, especially when it comes to taking out the force field. So Lings do get cleaned up, but not before that 4th base gets killed.
Exactly. A nice pick off there by GogojOey. And again, these Phoenixes, they sure, like, you can still like harass a little bit, I guess, but again, Bistork kind of got bamboozled there. GogojOey, he did go for that Spire, but he never invested into it because it got scouted.
Taking the page off of Miomaika's book, I like it.
Yeah, it's something that someone like Miomaika does quite often. Invest in tech, but if it gets scouted, why use it, right? Like, it's meant to be a surprise factor, so instead, avoid it completely. Obviously, he still will be using it for Corruptors, I would imagine, because carriers are on the way.
Yeah, he does need to realize his carriers are on the way, though. As right now, Bistork is doing a very good job of keeping them hidden. A little bit of skirmish here in the middle of the map, but again, Bistork hasn't revealed his hand entirely yet. GogojOey investing a lot into this push. I'm not convinced he has enough to really cripple Bistork.
I mean, he can definitely force a denial on this 4th base. There's 1 carrier. What is 1 carrier really going to do here against all these queens? Like, the interceptors are just going to get picked off.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe the Phoenixes can lift, but there's a lot that GogojOey can do to prevent that. Decent Vile lands on top of the Phoenixes. And as you were saying, Bistork just doesn't have that critical mass yet. The interceptors are taken out completely from one of these carriers.
Yeah, exactly. And a couple more carriers are showing up, but there are plenty of queens. The 4th base will fall, and now the Roach Ravager is pushing into the 3rd.
Try to get some Vials on top of the carriers that they do land. Not enough to take them out, but definitely enough to really weaken them. And as you were saying, the interceptors get picked apart by the queens. And every time Bistork remakes them, he is losing money.
Exactly, and the queens are not stopping, by the way. Like, these queens are becoming a very real problem for these carriers. The carriers are running out of interceptors.
One by one.
Exactly, and sure, there are DTs, but there's also detection here. Like, Bistork, he just can't deal with this.
Hey, these queens are like tanks right now for GogojOey. Producing them one at a time, or I guess as many as hatcheries as he's got. And he's just waddling them across the map.
Yeah.
Getting them into a siege-ish position.
And sure, the carriers are alive, but like they just don't have enough DPS. The third base falls. Now Bistork is stuck only on 2 bases. Eventually, maybe he can overwhelm these queens because they're fresh queens. They don't have enough energy for a transfuse. But how much more is he going to lose?
A whole lot is the answer. Does not have a lot of mining. Doesn't have much of a bank. Even if he survives this onslaught, he can remake a couple of interceptors. But Bistork is already, or GogojOey rather, is already continuing to make more and more queens. He is more than safe when it comes to anti-air.
Yeah, exactly. I'm honestly surprised that GogojOey isn't making corruptors right now. GogojOey has a massive bank, by the way, and a lot of lava, and he's kind of tunnel visioning a little bit. Again, these queens, oh my god, they're actually not dying. Who needs transfuse, mate?
It's more of a styling thing. But GogojOey is like, yeah, I don't need corruptors. I don't even need energy for transfuse on these queens.
Hey, just make corruptors, mate. You got 5k minerals and 3k gas. He's throwing down the... Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, they're on the way.
Yeah, who needs transfuse? Well, apparently GogojOey.
I guess. Meanwhile, the roaches are pushing into the natural base. Okay, they are forced back. So Bistork, he quote-unquote holds for now. But of course, we have that Remax on the way, and they're going to be 2 Void Rays against 30 Corruptors.
All those juicy carriers, ripe for the picking. Every Zerg player's dream. Not even the Phoenixes can outrange those Corruptors.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. The Corruptors dive in, and there is nothing to stop them. There's no Archons, there are no Storms, or there's nothing on the ground to support them. Immediately, 2 carriers get picked off. And next up are the Phoenixes.
Trying to fight, yeah. Trying to fight, but keyword there being trying. GogojOey very on point with the target fire. GG is called. Corruptors dive in, and GogojOey Bistork taps out. GogojOey takes it to match point.
GG has that 2-0 lead now in this series. As a reminder, because this is the grand finals, this is a best of 5, so Bistork, he's not out of it yet. He still has one more chance to bring it back.
Indeed he does. If this was most other Grand Platypus Opens, then GogojOey would have already won by now, because usually he comes in here from the upper bracket, giving that 1 point advantage, but this is single limb. The level has been leveled.
You okay? Yaku, we're almost there, okay? Stay with me, Yaku, stay with me. Don't fall into the light. Don't go into the light. The light is here, mate.
Rage against the whatchamacallit.
Machine.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Oh, God.
Was that from the 2000s, or was that from the 90s?
I don't even know what you're on about, mate. I couldn't tell you.
It was like, whatchamacallit. Rage Against the Machine is a song. Oh, well, Rage Against the Machine is a band, but I was thinking specifically a song where it's like, you know, the bridge is like, fuck you, I don't do what you tell me, over and over again. Very formative for 14-year-old Yaku, I gotta say.
Now it all makes sense.
But speaking of making sense, we are now here on 2000 Atmospheres LE. I actually don't remember the lyrics to one of the songs. I remember the bass line, where it's like, I actually don't, never mind. Maybe think of a different band. Never mind. In the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player coming out from the land of Hong Kong. He is absolutely living up to his title as the best player from Hong Kong, as he is up 2-0 against his opponent in this best of 5 finals. Representing himself as he's currently teamless, but also representing all of us in a way. He is GogojOey.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres, LE, we have the Kong from Hong Kong himself. He is the Pink Protoss, fighting for his life right now, up against the wall. Can he bring it back? It is Bistork.
I may be thinking of different songs.
God damn it, Yaku. Ay. Alright, here we go. One more chance. And then he can get another chance, I should say, for Bistork. I mean,
it'll be the final chance.
Yeah, and like, to be fair, when it comes to this series, like, he's been pretty creative. Like, he's been doing a lot, right? He's been going for fast carriers, he's been going for DTs, like, he's been doing all these Bistork things. But they're just not working against GogojOey, mate.
Yeah, GogojOey has consistently just been winning the numbers game in both of these series. Bistork had a lot of fights where he was trading very efficiently. He had a lot of very cheeky harassment maneuvers, but at the end of the day, GogojOey just played as greedy as he could get away with and always had a lot more minerals, a lot more gas, a lot more supply to reinforce and remax when it's all said and done.
Yeah, sometimes to his detriment, because he doesn't always remax with the most ideal army. And sometimes he tunnel visions a little bit too much. I think we've seen that in both games so far, where in game 1 it was the army composition for GogojOey, and in game 2 it was just also the army composition where he was just making nothing but queens and roaches and queens and roaches and queens and roaches. It's like, mate, at a certain point,
look,
like, breathe, take a step back, you know, right? Like, but he's just so engrossed in what he's doing, and honestly, I'm sure a lesser player would fall then and there, but Bistork, like, he's just been able to fight back and force GogojOey to respond.
Yeah, you can really see he knows exactly how to exploit the weaknesses of GogojOey's compositions, what he needs to counter Roach Queens or Roach Raptor Ling and whatnot. It's in those moments where GogojOey realizes, all right, I can get a hive. That Bistork really got taken out.
And we'll see if we have more of the same in game number 3, or if Bistork is able to do something different here. Again, we've seen something different every single game. He's opening up with a Void Ray first, but after he clears up these Overlords, what will he go for then?
I'm kind of hoping it's a Dark Shrine again, but I have my doubts. It's going to be an Oracle this time. Immediately after getting the Void Ray, not waiting. It doesn't really care that GogojOey can see it. But a Twilight Council as well.
Ooh.
Not gonna lie, I thought Bistork might try to go for an early fleet beacon since we are in 2,000 atmospheres. But that's the expected thing to do, right? So may as well get another Twilight Council.
It is. And I'm still not sure what this is going to be, by the way, because we do have 4 gates in total for Bistork, but we had 4 gates last game as well, and that was the game where Bistork decided to go into DTs. So we'll see what he decides to go for. He could still go into Glaive Adepts from here if he so wished, or could throw down a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, that less committed Glaive Adept style, or opening rather, definitely lends itself very well to 2,000 atmospheres, especially with the Oracle out. There we go, Glaives is being researched.
Okay, so this is making a little bit more sense now. We do have Glaive Adepts on the way for Bistork, and GogojOey still hasn't scouted this. He is sending Lings across the map, and there isn't much to see here. He could catch a glimpse of all these Adepts at the natural, but right now he's more concerned with harassing these workers at the third.
Yeah, just making sure that Bistork can never have a comfortable saturation on that third base. As the Oracle turns back home, he really does not want GogojOey to find out about the Adepts. He also just doesn't want to lose the Oracle, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And ooh, those Lings, did they see the Adepts? I'm actually not sure. I wasn't looking at the vision of GogojOey, but he is, yeah, he knows, mate. He throws down a Spine immediately at his third. He is making roaches.
Taking this very seriously. That's still a lot of Adepts, though. Roaches can take a little while to build, or specifically the Spine can. And they don't have Galal Reconstitution just yet. There's a lot Bistork can do with these shades to just completely cripple the economy of GogojOey. Big if, though.
Oh, meanwhile, he actually commits to the shade. I don't know if that was the best move there, as he's looking to get into that mineral line, but the roaches are here to meet the adepts.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get quite a number of drone kills here, but at the cost of half his army. The other half is also deep in the main base. Not the most worthwhile trade from Bistork, in my opinion.
I mean, 10 drones went down. Honestly, that's more than I thought would go down. I was surprised that GogojOey actually wasn't pulling the workers away at his natural. He just left them there. He's like, you know what? You can deal whatever damage you want. I don't care, mate, because I'm going to clean this up and I'm going to go for a counterattack.
Just like so. More adepts are coming in, and it's crucial that these adepts get into the natural base. There is that spire. They don't see it.
No, they do not. They commit to the shade into the main. It looks like they will be able to get a queen at least. Nicely done. And the roaches actually come back home.
Yeah, he tried to get something done regardless across the map, but those force fields were enough to chase the roaches away. Come on, Shades! Get to the mineral line. He sees the spire.
He knows Spire is on the way. Now the question is, will GogojOey let us finish? Will he commit and still going to mute us even though he got scouted?
Honestly, I feel like Mutas would be more effective this game. Now, since Bistork didn't go too committed to the Stargates, since he is a lot more committed to Gateway Tech, he did get Blink a lot earlier on, just in case, and he is getting as many cannons as he can afford at each of his mineral lines. This wall is in a wall! The Stasis Ward was at the wrong side! Bistork pulled a Singapore!
Bistork, please! The wall was not a wall, it does get depowered. The roaches waddle their way past everything into the main base.
Not too much economic damage to be dealt here, but he gets a very good scout. I guess more importantly, he trades out these inefficient roaches, so he's more supply to spare for Mutalists.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that dealt as little damage as it did. As you said, mate, he just lost all those roaches for 2 workers and a pylon. That's it.
Worth it.
That's all he got. My god, like I feel like that was kind of a blessing in disguise for Bistork. I'm not gonna lie, like that was a massive investment. And what did he really scout? He saw the robotics bay, I guess, so he knows disruptors are on the way. The meters come in there, and this is the real moneymaker here for GogojOey.
Or it could be, but it only takes out a single pylon so far. Didn't quite jump on top of that mineral line. The Stalkers got warped in, and they do have Blink. GogojOey has to be very, very careful. Going for a bit of multi-prong.
That he is, but you know what? The ground army is here to meet that of GogojOey, so he is forced back, and I'm honestly surprised that he's still committed into these mutas. Like, we all saw, even GogojOey saw that he got scouted, and sure, Bistork didn't have the tech and the production to switch into Phoenixes. Sure, I get it, but as you were saying, he already had Blink, and he already had +1. Like, these Stalkers, they're enough to deal with this small amount of mutas.
I feel like because GogojOey saw that Bistork didn't have the capability to tech into Phoenixes, because he was so used to Bistork being a very Stargate-oriented player recently. He thought he could get away with the mutas, but as you see, he could not. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, we do see he's trying to hit the 4th base. Ooh, nice files. Does snipe a disruptor.
Absolute psychic there with that bile placement. Colossus comes out, and it does take out the Ling buffer, but what's it really going to do against the roaches or the Mutalists? That's why it's so important for these Stalkers and this Immortal to still survive.
Exactly. GogojOey, he is forced back. Bistork was able to defend his 3rd base and his 4th at the same time. The mutas weren't able to find any damage whatsoever. And I'm getting more and more word for GogojOey. Like, to be fair, his economy has been left untouched, right? He lost 10 workers earlier to the Adepts, but that's all the damage that he sustained. And he's up to 80 drones already. He's got his half of the map. Sure, but I'm not convinced by his army. He's got Lings and he's got roaches somewhere.
He's only now making that baneling nest.
Yeah, these are the only roaches he has,
He's
by the
like
way.
that. They are. Liking that bread and butter of Berserk for so long.
The bread, the butter, the condiments, and everything.
Rice.
I guess. The rice? What kind of sandwich are you eating?
Water.
The water. Oh god.
The sandwich bread, the rice is the bread.
Yeah, the mutants come in, they don't find any damage either. We do have did really stalkers? Did they think they were zealots?
Apparently, thankfully they do have blink, but they blink right on top of even more lings. I was worried for a second for GogojOey. He was going to hive, and he did need a lot of time to transition to his late game army. Bistork was already making moves across the map, but he does pull back. He does take a much more defensive position.
Yeah, a bit of a slip up there by Bistork, you know, going for that Stalker hit squad. Not really too sure what was the plan with that hit squad, but regardless, like, Bistork, his army is still pretty solid. Does he have what it takes to contend against Ultras, though? That's the question. Baneling speed still only just started. I don't know if these Banelings are much of a threat right now, other than the fact that GogojOey is maxed out.
Certainly's Chrono Boost confirmed. Bistork is going at an angle, and he catches quite a number of reinforcements off guard. Takes out the Archons, which just makes it that much more difficult for Bistork to really engage. He needs to think twice before moving that deep into creep now.
Yeah, honestly, that was huge. Like, Archons are key here in this army, right? Archons, they deal with Banelings, they deal with Lings, and that's all that we have here for GogojOey. So losing both Archons like that is huge, especially because they still haven't been replaced. Finally, we have some High Templar warping in, but it took so long for that to happen. This army, I feel like, is still vulnerable to Lingbane Ultra.
Yeah, in that time it took for the Archons to be remade, 3 Ultras came out.
Yeah. And Ultras, they can break through these force fields. Like, that's the one thing keeping Bistork alive right now.
That it is. That's a pretty juicy Purification Nova. Decent yoinks, but not quite enough DPS to follow that up.
Yeah,
the Ultras come in a little too late, and Bistork has a ton of momentum on him.
Also, I don't know if you noticed that, but those yoinks, I don't know how great they were because they actually saved the Colossus from the Banelings.
Did they?
The Banelings were coming in and then the yoinks pulled the Colossus away from the Banes. I was like,
I did not notice that at all.
Yeah, I'm like, is that what we wanted here? Maybe?
It's what Bistork wanted.
It is what Bistork wanted, and here we go. He takes out one base, he's gonna take out the other. GogojOey has been stumbling around with his tech, and I guess he's where he wanted to be with his Ultras. His army, to be fair, like, composition-wise, isn't the worst against what Bistork has, but now he doesn't have the numbers, and now he also doesn't have the economy.
And he really does it. 4 bases as Bistork is starting to take his 5th. No, sorry. GogojOey is out of 3 bases. He's only now retaken a 4th.
Exactly. You know, we have all this long distance mining. Meanwhile, the armies are clashing here in the middle of the map. The Ultras are getting on top of the army.
Very nicely done here. I was very worried that they did come in from an angle, that they were just moving in from a single point. But look at how much beef these Ultras have. Light. Kindness plating. Really helping him out. 69 supply to 23. Neither player really has much of a bank to remax.
No,
GogojOey can't quite break this, but Bistork has lost his capability of being active on the map, it seems.
Exactly, and GogojOey is not stopping. Maybe he should, like, he does lose one Ultra there.
No!
He's gonna lose another. Oh god.
Oh, it's so low!
Pull
Bistork,
back.
get it out of here!
Pull back,
GogojOey, get it out of here! Bistork, kill it! He does pull back. Whew. That's a chance to use.
Yeah, GogojOey just overextending a little bit there. He needs to calm down. Like, that was an amazing fight that he won in the middle of the map. And I would argue, hey, maybe he can try and deny this base, but yeah, just wait a little bit longer for those reinforcements.
GogojOey needs to calm down. That's what he needs to do.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we have a bit of a zealot run by as the War Prism did sneak into the main base. There isn't much anti-air, to be honest, so it is keeping the attention of GogojOey busy here in the main. Meanwhile, GogojOey finally, he has his 4th base up and running. We should be seeing a 5th soon. And unlike Bistork, GogojOey did have a form of bank, right? And now he spent it in these Ultras, and what does Bistork have to deal with it? He has 1 Immortal.
That's doubts about it. He has one immortal, but he also has a lot of shield batteries and cannons. Bistork right now can only fight defensively. And even that is going to be tough as GogojOey moves in. Very good blinding clouds, preventing all of these stalkers from utilizing their range.
Yeah, exactly.
GogojOey works sense a little bit.
Yeah, the defensive position is just too good here. Ooh, loses an ultra. These ultras, they are so goddamn expensive. GogojOey, please. Regardless, he did still win a fight here. He also took down a base, keeping Bistork on 4 bases. I say 4, far less than that because he's starting out. He is mining out.
Okay, doesn't even have the minerals to get a Nexus for a 5th base. Bistork really needs to make a choice: units or economy.
One or the other, and he is pumping out nothing but ultras. Sorry, nothing but immortals. He actually threw down 2 more robotics facilities for that immortal production, but the Ling Bane is getting on top of the army.
Yeah, I was definitely worried for GogojOey for a sec because of the amount of Archons Bistork had. But the Lings are able to slip in, and they are able to get the surrounds they need. I'm still worried for GogojOey when he moves into this very fortified 4th base.
Yeah, the problem is
that he backs away.
he does. Like, again, GogojOey is just trading so well. Unfortunately for Bistork, he doesn't have a lot of buffer for his immortals. Every single time he fights, the Lings and the ultras get on top of the immortals and they start to fall. Like, there are no zealots, there aren't enough archons to be in between them. The zealots are across the map instead. Sure, I guess they're trying to harass a little bit, but these shouldn't deal too much damage. The ultras should respond at some point. And at the end of the day, I guess it's enough for GogojOey to keep Bistork contained on 4 bases. Like, Bistork desperately needs another one.
Yeah, Bistork's definitely between a rock and a hard place right now when it comes to his production. I mean, that's what happens when you just don't have an economy to sustain an expensive Protoss army like this. Every choice is a tough one. Do I use these zealots to help me buffer and let my Zerg opponent get away with their economy, or do I try to use them to, as a bit of a hit squad, right? Slow down my opponent's economy. He's probably starving as much as I am, or almost as much, so I really need to make sure that that's the case. I lost my train of thought. I don't know if you noticed. It was probably very hard to notice that there. I
don't know if you realize what you just said, but okay. You're like, I hope he's not as hungry as I am.
I think I'll skip dinner tonight.
God damn it, Yaku. I think something key here that Bistork is missing that would honestly be amazing. Mate, get a War Prism, right? There's no anti-air. If you get a War Prism, you can juggle these immortals, you can pull them back and keep them alive, keep them back away from those ultras. What's scary though is that GogojOey, he has not tunnel vision this game. He has continued to tech up. As we can see, he has his Broodlords.
Yeah, he has stepped away, he has taken a minute to breathe, and he has teched up to the end game Zerg army. Oh, I was gonna say Bistork had a Warp Prism and go into another ramble about how you need to make a choice or something. But now he doesn't have a Warp Prism, so
now he doesn't have to make that choice.
Moot point. Yeah. I'm glad GogojOey saved me from rambling again. I was gonna say save me from embarrassing myself, but let's be real. I've done way more embarrassing things.
Oh god. I mean, do we want to talk about that art stream again? Do we want to? Meanwhile, here we go. Bistork is pushing out of the map. A lot of Archons here, a lot of Immortals, but I don't believe he has seen the Broodlords.
This is his final train. His final stand, really, for Bistork. He hasn't seen the Broodlords, and to be fair, Archons aren't the worst unit in the world to deal with them. You can deal with the Broodlings easily well, and if you can get on top of them, they really start to take him out. No, the recall! A little bit whiff there.
Aye. 4 Archons go down for free. They were left out of that recall. Unfortunately, the Archons are a little bit too thick, and he couldn't catch all of them. That was a massive loss there by Bistork. And now, what is his response? He is going for Void Rays. He only has 1 Stargate.
Void Ray.
Yeah.
Singular.
He can't produce more.
GogojOey has really shown how well he understands the numbers game in this entire series. Each and every game slowly starving Bistork out. There's still an opportunity here for Bistork, I think, if he's somehow able to catch GogojOey's army as it splits up, but there's just so much supply GogojOey has on top of him.
Exactly, and GogojOey's not overextending. He took down every single worker here at the fifth base, and he does pull back. Oh, okay. Bistork, he does trap all of these ultras. The ultras will be cleaned up by these immortals, but still, what is the answer to the Broodlords?
DTs. I swear Bistork has a quota tonight. He's trying to get that Western Union Dark Shrine bonus.
I was about to say maybe GogojOey doesn't have any anti-air, but he made a bunch of corruptors. He has a bunch of queens with his army as well. He has the anti-air to deal with the Void Rays. Void Ray.
Void Ray, yeah, singular. As for a second, Bistork thought maybe I could go for a bit of a base race with my army, but GogojOey's reinforcements catch that.
Yeah, the Immortals, after cleaning up the Ultras, are across the map. But again, you know, this army, what deals with this? Lings, mate. Lings are all you need. And that's what's on the way.
All that tier 1. It's a circle of StarCraft tech tiers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The early game, you want your Marines, you want your Zults, you want your Zerglings. Middle of the game, not so much. You want a decent amount of them. Late game, though, they become invaluable.
That they do. Meanwhile, the Broodlords actually decided to turn around and go back home. And with these Broodlords, they will be able to push away this army of Bistork. Bistork, what is he doing with this time? He is making more Stalkers. I guess that is a way to deal with Broodlords. It's not the greatest way, but he's just trying. Oh, no.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe if you're able to blink on top of them, but not when there's blinding clouds in the way.
Man, that was a beautiful response by GogojOey. That was almost immediate, like as if he was expecting the blink.
Oh, he 100% was. That's why he was leaving those Broodlords in such a vulnerable position. He's like, "Are you gonna do you really think you can take out my Viper before I throw down the blinding clouds?" He could not, as we confirmed. The final hurrah for Bistork is here with all these stalkers. But even they have to be taken out.
Exactly. It's not going to be enough, mate. The Broodlords keep pushing on forward. This newest base of Bistork is going to go down. What does Bistork have left? He has 6 Stalkers, mate. 6 Stalkers and a dream. And that dream is not big enough, mate.
And it is that he's finally getting another Nexus, by the way, behind all this.
No, the legs!
Do catch that, and we'll be able to crush Bistork's dream of getting a Nexus up.
Looks like Bistork, he's gonna have to be stroking his beef in 2nd place.
Yeah, which, I mean, even still, pretty impressive result, pretty rewarding prize. GG is called. GogojOey wins his 6th consecutive Grand Platypus Open and ties himself up with Demi for overall Grand Platypus Open championships at 17. Very nicely done by our Hong Kong boys.
Very nicely done indeed. GG, congratulations, GogojOey, and well played Beef. I said Beef Streak.
What, 2 a.m. where you at?
Well played, Bistork, because Bistork made GogojOey work for it. Like, again, there were moments in all of these games where Bistork, he was bringing it back. You know, he clawed his way back into it, almost pulled off the comeback every single time. But GogojOey, just his economic advantage in every single game was just huge, right? Like the bases, the economy, he could afford to trade a little bit inefficiently, and just keep remaxing and keep on going. Even this last game, game 3, it felt like GogojOey was kind of floundering around a little bit, like he didn't really know what he wanted. Eventually he did land on those ultras, and I'm just impressed that he was able to survive that long, get to them, and then once he did, able to finally kind of reclaim control of the game.
Absolutely. Let's show you how easy it is to fall into that tunnel visioning trap, even if you are a pretty experienced pro gamer like GogojOey. Everyone needs a reminder, you know, take a step back, breathe, realize this scenario you're in.
Exactly.
And props to GogojOey for recognizing those scenarios.
Yeah, it's great to see him performing so well here. I look forward to seeing how he does in DreamHack in the upcoming DreamHack fall season, just because he's been improving so much, and historically he has struggled against players like Haas and Nice and even Rex, but maybe this will be his season.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping so. DreamHack Summer was definitely, I wouldn't call it a breakout run, but GogojOey definitely made it to the playoff brackets, I believe, for the first time.
Yeah,
at least in a close qualifier.
Yeah, he did make it to the playoff bracket, which was huge for him for the main event.
Right, for the main event.
Yeah, as a result,
I remember it now. I remember how hyped we were.
Yeah, it's all like, coming back.
Rip Joey. If we were casting, father.
If you remember, I think we ended up casting GogojOey versus Bud Always, and we were very sad because we were fans of both of them.
Yeah.
Oh god, and I believe he was even in the same half of the bracket as Bistork, because they both made it through, I think. But that was in the group stage, I think, But regardless, congratulations to these two players. Thank you so much again, The Muslim, for the raid, and I hope everyone who stuck around from his raid enjoyed themselves. We didn't really get to introduce ourselves, really, but I guess now is a better time than ever, as we are the Cranky Ducklings. We are live here almost every single day on this Twitch channel, and we cast a lot of StarCraft. Southeast Asian, Oceanic, North American, South American. We cast a lot of weekly events, the ESL Open Cups, and we also run our own events. But recently we have been slowing things down a little bit, and that is because we are a part, I say we, I've become a part of the ANZ Champs broadcast, run by ESL Australia, and because of that, on the weekends I do go to the studio, and it is like an entire day commitment.
Yeah, you say we. You know they're consulting Kuro for production.
And also the Ducklings do show up in the chat as well to cheer for our boys. Like we all have our role.
Yeah, when we're not timed out for copy passes.
Yeah, feels bad, man. But Yaku, why don't you tell the people more of yourself? I know you're kind of busy with school and studies at the moment, so you're not streaming as much.
I'm not streaming at all, I don't think. For my final term, 1 month left for school, and yeah, I need to figure out how to draw graphic design.
Yes, Yaku is taking a graphic design class in his course, and he is not the best drawer. So yeah, he is a little bit stressed out about that, but we believe, mate. You can do it. One day.
Yeah, no. Okay. But surely, really, I should just show them my art stream and be like, yo, give me the A. But if I do decide to stream, that's over at twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. I will probably announce that over at twitter.com @Empora-Yakuzaku. But till I graduate, best place to find me is !Discord in the chat at that Cranky Ducklings Discord server. That's basically where I am every day, every hour. I don't know where else to be.
Yep, exactly. You can find us there on Discord. You can also follow us on social media, as you can see on the screen right now. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our Discord server, as we just mentioned. And you can also see our weekly schedule here, where typically we're live every single day of the week. Wednesday is our only day off from casting. I love Wednesdays. It's great. Yeah, our next broadcast will be tomorrow. SEA Duckling Open. That'll be in 21 hours. That is our bi-weekly amateur tournament for players between the ranks, between the leagues of Bronze and Diamond. So if you're interested in competing in that, then you can sign up. It is at a pretty bad time for North American viewers, so I do apologize for that. It's at a decent time for Europeans, so depending on where you are, you can compete in that or just tune in again to support the amateur scene. It's a way for us to, again, just support that scene and eventually hope to, I guess, cultivate some players and give them motivation to continue to improve and become
Oreo.
and take that next step. Oreo and Starduck are, and Ruichi as well, are some of those players. Arez is another one. these players who eventually
Yeah.
just kept improving,
Like
didn't stop, and
oh yeah, Ares is like a pretty big name in the Brazilian scene now.
yeah,
Latin
he's
America in general.
he didn't hit GM yet, but he is Masters 1. So I mean, he improved quite a bit. It was very impressive. But with that, I believe we are done for the day. I know Yaku is starving and he needs to get some food inside him, so I don't want to keep him too long. Yeah.
Yeah, because your orders for pizza. Fun fact: it is pizza for dinner.
Oh, nice. Enjoy it, enjoy it. And with that, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Ciao.
Bella.